Hello, hello. Happy Friday, everyone. So, I've done some research on essential fatty acids and I would like to share my research with you. Hopefully, you enjoy the topic. So, we're going to talk about omega 6 and omega 3 and why they're essential. So, our body doesn't have an enzyme to produce omega 6 or omega 3, and the only way that we can get them is via our diet and the food that we eat. Now, that's why they're essential. And also, lack of omega 6 and omega 3 will cause a lot of deficiency in our nutrition and also some serious sickness. So, I have my notes here and I will go back and forth so I don't miss anything here. If you don't get any from your diet, you will develop deficiency. So we talked about that, and you become sick. However, these fatty acids are different than most fats. They're not simply used for energy or stored. They are biologically active and have important roles in the processes in our body, like blood clotting or inflammation. Omega 6 and omega 3s don't act exactly the same. Omega 6 are known as pro inflammatory, whereas omega 3s are known as anti inflammatory. There's also, you've probably heard of omega 9, but our body produces omega 9, so it's not part of the discussion today and it is not an essential fatty acid. Although the inflammation is good for our body, so we do need omega 6 in our body because it is pro inflammatory, and we need inflammation in our body to fight any sort of injuries or infection. But too much inflammation in our body and chronic inflammation in our body will cause a lot of chronic damages to our health, overall health. In fact, chronic inflammation, it's known to be the cause of a lot of problems like heart disease, Alzheimer, arthritis, and some sort of many types of cancer. So it says, including heart disease, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, diabetes, arthritis, Alzheimer, and many types of cancer. Scientists' belief is that a diet high in omega 6 but low in omega 3 increase inflammation, but a diet that has a good balance of both fatty acids, it helps with balancing the inflammation in our body. Those who follow a Western diet, most of us do, are typically eating way too much omega 6 and relatively very too little omega 3. People who ate pre-industrial diet or way of eating, they were consuming the ratio of omega 6 to omega 3, they were consuming 4 to 1 to 1 to 4. So that was the ratio that they were using, omega 6 versus omega 3. Now, these days, with the Western diet, the ratio is 16 to 1. So it's way higher omega 6 and way lower omega 3 if you want to think about it. Western population, which is most of us, are eating large amounts of processed seed and vegetable oils, which is very high in omega 6. And the technology to produce these type of oils didn't exist 100 years ago. And therefore, our body didn't have a time to genetically adapt to consumption and kind of like digestion of that much amount of omega 6. Animal foods are among the good source of omega 3. However, these days, most of those animal foods are grain-fed. Soy or corn is their main source of food. And with those type of animals, when they're eating grain, they produce more omega 6 in their bodies. Yet, we eat them and we think that they should have a good source of omega 3. But the reality is we still don't get the ratio we need to get from the animal products. Whenever possible, it is recommended to eat grass-fed or grass-fed animal products, either grass-fed meat or grass-fed butter, but it's not always possible. Another good source of omega-3 is seafood. So make sure that you eat seafood once or twice a week to kind of like incorporate that good ratio into your diet. If you're someone that uses either don't use enough animal products, or you don't eat seafood, or you do eat a lot of animal products but not enough seafood, it is highly recommended that you take some of those supplements like fish oil, or one thing I read is the cod liver oil, if I'm not mistaken. It's a very good source of omega 3 as well. Hope that you enjoyed this little video.